There's a jump in figure skating that's considered physically impossible. 4.5 rotations in under a second. Taking off facing forward, the one direction your body isn't built to launch from. For decades, the greatest skaters who ever lived avoided even attempting it. Then, a teenager from Virginia walked onto the ice and did it like it was nothing. This is the story of how a 17-year-old broke the laws of his own sport and never stopped. September 2022, Lake Placid, New York. A relatively unknown skater named Ilia Malinin steps onto the ice at the U.S. International Classic. Nobody outside the sport knows his name yet. What happens in the next 4 minutes will change figure skating forever. He launches into the air, 4.5 rotations, a clean landing. It's the first time in history anyone has landed a fully rotated quadruple axel in international competition. The crowd doesn't even fully process what they just saw. Commentator and Olympic medalist Adam Rippon certainly did. He'd later call it the craziest thing I've ever seen anyone do on the ice. Here's what makes that jump so absurd. It requires 340 RPM of rotation speed, 10 times faster than a vinyl record spins. The skater's arms have to resist 200 pounds of centrifugal force, and all of it happens in 0.79 seconds of airtime, less than a single second to rewrite the limits of human movement. And he was 17. But here's the part most people miss. This wasn't a fluke, and it wasn't luck. Malinin comes from a family built entirely around this sport. His mother, Tatiana Malina, was an Olympic skater for Uzbekistan. His father, Roman Skornyakov, competed at the Olympics for Russia. He didn't stumble into greatness. He was raised inside it by people who knew exactly what the sport demanded. And he still found a way to do something neither of them nor anyone else on Earth had ever done. So once he proved the impossible jump was possible, the obvious question became, what's next? The answer is almost hard to believe. By 2024, Malinin wasn't just landing the quad axel occasionally, he was stacking it inside programs packed with other quadruple jumps nobody else would dare attempt. At that year's Grand Prix final, he didn't just land the quad axel again. He became the first figure skater in history to land all 6 different types of quadruple jumps within a single program. Toe loop, salchow, loop, flip, Lutz, and axel. 6 different jumps. Each one is its own form of physical risk. He landed every single one. Think about that for a second. Most skaters build entire careers around mastering 1 or 2 variations of quad. Malinin had just landed all 6 in one program, under pressure, on the world stage. But the story doesn't stop there. It gets stranger and more impossible. December 2025, the Grand Prix final in Nagoya, Japan. Malinin steps onto the ice with a plan so audacious that even his own team wasn't sure it was wise. 7 quadruple jumps in a single 4-minute free skate. Nobody, not in the entire recorded history of the sport, had ever attempted that many, let alone landed them. He'd tried it once before, a year earlier, and failed. He had under-rotated jumps trying it at the 2024 Grand Prix final in Grenoble. Most athletes would shelve an idea like that after a public failure. Malinin is not most athletes. As a self-professed perfectionist, he couldn't resist trying the ambitious layout a year later, and this time he felt far more confident. The music starts. One quad, then another. The arena tension builds with every landing because everyone watching knows exactly how rare and dangerous this is. By the 4th quad, by the 5th, something historic is clearly unfolding in real time. And then the 7th jump lands clean. Ilia Malinin becomes the first skater in history to land 7 quadruple jumps in a single program. The performance also earns him a world record score of 238.24 points. Not just a personal best, a world record. The highest free skate score ever recorded in the history of competitive figure skating at that point. And he wasn't even at his physical limit. Hours later, almost casually, he revealed what was actually running through his mind. "The most realistic bar is when my body starts to give up on me," he said when asked how far he could push it. "I'm sure at least 1 or 2 quints hopefully will be possible." Quintuple jumps. 5 rotations. A move that, as of right now, has never been attempted by a single human being in competitive history. And the man who just broke the 7 quad barrier was talking about it like it was simply the next item on his checklist. This is the part of the Ilia Malinin story that gets lost in the noise of headlines and highlight reels. The sheer, relentless audacity of what he's chasing. He's not trying to win. He's already won, repeatedly. 2 world championships, 4 US national titles. He's chasing something bigger, the literal outer edge of what a human body can do on ice. There's a quiet moment buried in one of his interviews that explains everything about who he really is. Talking about training 7 quads on a near daily basis, building toward jumps no one has ever landed, he admitted something almost vulnerable. Going your own way can feel lonely. That's the cost nobody talks about. Every record he breaks alone, because there's no one else attempting these jumps to compare himself to, no rival pushing him from behind. He is quite literally competing against the boundaries of physics itself. So when people call him the quad god, it's not just a nickname built for highlight reels. It's a description of a 21-year-old who took a jump considered theoretically impossible, landed it as a teenager, and then spent the next 3 years making impossible look outdated. 6 quad types in one program, 7 quads in one program, a world record score, and an open invitation to a 5-rotation jump that doesn't currently exist in competitive skating. The only question left is the one even Malinin can't fully answer yet. Where is the actual ceiling? How much further can one person push a sport before the sport itself has to be redefined? If you think Ilia Malinin lands a quintuple jump before he retires, say it in the comments. And if you think even the quad god has a limit, say that too. Because right now, nobody actually knows where this story ends.